If he doesn't hit you, is it still considered abuse? And the answer is yes. But let me start by clearing away some of the confusion that you're hearing in church when you start to say, but he's abusive. They may say, well, if he doesn't hit you, it's not abuse, and that's not true. But they may also say something like this. Well, you know what? He's a sinner, just like you. He sins, you sin. Who are you to judge his sin as any worse than your sin? Yes, it's true. We're all sinners. But when someone is an abusive sinner in a relationship, that relationship becomes broken. Marriage was designed as a mutual partnership. It was designed by God to be a mutually loving, safe, and trusting relationship. Safety and trust are integral to any healthy relationship. And so when there's abuse present, guess what goes? Safety and trust. And it's not just physical abuse that harms safety and trust. It's other kinds of abuse as well. Hitting is a strategy of abusers, but it's not about hitting. Abuse is about power. Abuse is about control. The barrage of abuse isn't just a reaction to their pain. It's a strategy to get you to shut up and stop arguing. It's a strategy of control. So if someone is trying to exert power and control over your freedom to be the person that God designed you to be, your freedom to choose, your freedom to think, your freedom to express yourself, your freedom to have a different opinion, that is the signs of an abusive relationship. So if abuse is about the abuse of power and control over, and yet conservative Christian churches say, well, a husband has authority over his wife and she should submit, well, then it sort of reinforces this idea that it's not abuse if he has to use his authority to get her to submit. But let me ask you a question. Did Jesus ever use his authority to make someone do something they didn't want to do? He could have called down 1,000,000 angels from the cross and used his authority to silence his abusers. He did not. If you want to be first in authority, you need to be a servant. You need to be last. That's the biblical definition of headship. So when you go to a church leader and they sort of excuse this dominating, controlling husband as the head and authority over you, and you buy that as biblical, you're getting confused. You're being misled. Jesus never said that's biblical. He has a different word for that. Selfish, oppressor, abusive. So let me just give you a couple categories where someone strategizes to use their power over you to control you. The first is physical. So a husband usually uses other means of control as well because he wants to keep you in a fearful but compliant and confused state. So he will alternate mean behavior with loving behavior, mean behavior with loving behavior, because you're like, okay, he didn't really mean that. He must be sorry. That's not who he really is. He just had a bad day. He really does love me. He really does want to be here, right? And so it gets confusing so that you're like the frog in boiling water. You're not realizing that you're getting cooked alive. So physical is one way to control someone. Emotional, verbal. The Bible talks a lot about the power of words, other people's words toward us, our words toward other people, and even our own words toward ourselves. Maybe you don't get cursed at, but verbal abuse can go different ways. It can be aggressive with contempt and anger and name calling and cursing and threatening so that you're feeling afraid, or it can be subtle, like mocking and undermining and snickering and sneering and eye rolling, which makes you feel like your ideas are stupid. So emotional and verbal. Another way someone can control you, financial. All right, we see a lot of control through use of money. You don't know where your husband keeps the money. You don't have any access to the money. You don't know how much money he makes. You don't have any money of your own. You feel like a little girl begging for an allowance every week to pay the bills or to feed your children. That's not a healthy relationship. That's not an adult-adult relationship. That's a parent-child, master-slave relationship. But there's a lot of control when it comes to money. And if I can control the money, I can control you. And then another area, spiritual abuse. Spiritual abuse is rampant. And there are a lot of religious leaders, including those in very well-known Christian churches, that try to control what you think and what you do. Let's say that you're separated from your husband and you haven't seen any change, but he's a great actor and he's charming everyone and he's telling everyone he's changed and he's so sorry and he wants to restore his marriage at any cost, and you're just so hard-hearted and unforgiving. And now you become the villain in their mind. He's the penitent sinner and you're the bad guy. You were the victim of abuse, but now you're the bad guy because you don't have enough grace to let him back home. You don't trust him. You don't feel safe with him, but somehow you're supposed to just suck it up and have a relationship with someone who's still your enemy. It is not possible.